Hello, you're listening to Hibs Talk. I'm your host as always, Gav. Joining me today is Dave.
Alright.
And Stephen.
Hello.
How you doing, guys?
I'm good, mate. You?
Good. You have a good weekend?
Did I? Aye. I was off work playing a lot of FIFA.
Cool. Any good FIFA saves, career modes like that going, or are you more of an ultimate team man?
Definite. I'm completely committed to Ultimate Team.
Alright, cool.
But it's addictive.
Aye.
Which is problematic, but it was good. Good weekend. What about you?
I was helping my mate move. He's got a new house, and I was helping him move. So a lot of lifting and things like that, which was good. Actually quite a good laugh and good to see him and stuff. And then it was his. They've timed the move well because they got the keys on the Thursday, and it was the kid's first birthday on the Saturday. So they've done it at his mum and dad's and stuff. But that was really nice. Had a good time. She got a train track, so I built that, and a couple other kids and played with that. And then my mate called me the fat controller, so I fell out with him.
You did? Aye. Yeah, I can see the resemblance now. You know, like the fatness bits. You know, like bald in that day with a beard.
Aye. I don't know if he's got a beard, but
just a wee fat guy.
Aye.
In fact, he's not got a beard now. You're right, but unless you're fat, but bald, you definitely are.
What about you, Stephen? What you been up to?
It's been a rough weekend.
Aye, how so?
Getting too old for drinking. I had my Christmas party on Saturday night.
Oh,
still suffering. You saw the state I was in on Sunday.
Yeah.
And then I had to witness two of the worst results of the weekend back to back. So,
aye, not a good weekend if you're a Hibs fan and an Arsenal fan like yourself.
No, certainly not.
Especially hungover. But good work night out though.
Aye, it was actually.
Good laugh.
It's like I was literally the only guy there.
Aye.
So it was a dream.
Surely it must be quite frustrating though if you're a taken man like you are though.
Well, such is life.
Anyway,
it's good.
So we're gonna obviously chat about the Celtic game, but since it's almost the end of 2019, we're gonna have a chat about our favourite games, and yeah, I was gonna discuss them. But the Celtic game first, we kind of spoke last week and previewed the game, and we were speaking about the fact that Celtic had a game on Thursday night, and could that have an effect and a hangover effect and all that sort of stuff. Celtic made 8 changes to the team that started. They got beat for Cluj, so I think it was only, and even one of them was a keeper, so aye, there was no hangover effect from that. But what did you make of the fact that Hibs went for the same starting 11? I mean, you guys spoke beforehand and said you would have went with the same 11. Stand by that now. Obviously hindsight's great and stuff, but from what you've seen,
aye, we needed to do that to have a go in effect, and obviously we didn't end up having a go, but there's no point gone, and our defence is not good enough to just go and sit. We'll just get beat.
I seen a couple of people on .net saying that Slivka maybe should have started a bit more bite in midfield. Would you have went with that, Stephen?
I'm a big advocate for Slivka anyway, so I would have started him, but I think it's just a learning curve still. Like, you're still getting used to a lot of players that are in and around the squad. Mm-hmm. It's a shame that Newell's not really fit, because I think he would have sort of came into that and had a good goal.
Still got that knock.
So there was a couple of wee changes, but like you say, me and Dave both says that you keep the same starting 11. You keep a winning side. And it was a shame that Marciano went off at half time as well. But
yeah, Marciano went off. Apparently, it was a calf injury, and they were worried about it flaring up, so they took him off as a precaution. So we'll kind of find out how he is as the week goes on. Hopefully, he's fit for Rangers. I'm going to say that I think we should have went 3-5-2 and matched up with Celtic. And obviously, it's great when you watch it back with hindsight. But I showed you one clip. I think it was with the Edward chance in the first half. You see that Stevenson was naturally getting brought into the centre. They were playing Edward and Forrest up front. I think you've got 3 centre backs, you've got more chance of dealing with them. Boyle was getting dragged back to that left back position. We're almost like we wanted to play that. We're being forced into playing that back 5. I think if we went for that a bit more naturally, a bit more bite in midfield like Slivka and Hallberg sitting, it would have, been a better way to go in my opinion. But just sort of from watching some of the goals back as well, the amount of space they were getting out wide, I think a back 5 could have done more. But like you say, changing a winning team, it's maybe not the best idea.
Yeah, and a lot of folk were like, "Oh, it's obviously a free hit in that," but it's just that I just think we've never done anything of note, and I find that always frustrating when that happens, when you play like one of the Old Firm away from home, and it's like, is this really what it's came to? Like, just you just key up. What's the point?
See,
I know they're better, and I know they're better players, and there's nothing you can do. And not going to get hung up on the result, but it's just crap. You can't go and give them a go because it's Celtic at the end of the day. It's not like you're playing against like a world-beating team. That Hamilton gave them a decent game. Like they looked ordinary against Rangers. So
there's been a lot of chat after the game about Scott Allan. We've talked loads about Scott Allan on this podcast when he's been at the club, when he's not been at the club, which frustrated some people. And we've always said he's best when he's got that free role, that number 10. Can you play two strikers and somebody in a free role at Parkhead? Can you give up basically three people? Because there's BBC Scotland on the radio were apparently giving him a lot of stick for not tracking back, for not sticking with his man, for not putting enough tackles in. And that's probably partly because he's used to playing that free role, which works when you're playing St Johnstone or even the likes of Aberdeen. But do you need people that are going to track back more and be more involved in the winning the ball back?
What I didn't like is like, see when you hear like, so it was basically on BBC Scotland that when I was listening to it, they were saying that he's no defending, and the exact words were, that's the other side of Scott Allan's game. And it's like that he needs to improve on, and he needs to do a bit better. He's got that flair side, everybody knows what he can do. But why does he have like that side of his game that doesn't defend in that? Surely he doesn't get to have his own game. He plays the game that the team plays. So I would expect Jack Ross to be able to stand that out, because he needs to buy into what everybody in the team's doing and defend if he needs to defend. Then you just go, I'm not a defensive midfielder. I'm not that type of person that puts in tackles. He wasn't like that. I didn't really think the last time he was at Hibs.
No.
Like, you seen him getting tore in that. Well, obviously I remember that tackle he done on Rossiter, but it wasn't. He's no one that can like normally sits off in that. So I hope that just gets stamped out and that doesn't become like
the norm.
Not even a norm, but like what people are labelling him as, because he's starting to get that label.
But is there a chance that Jack Ross has given them that instruction before the game to play that free role?
Don't tackle at Celtic Park.
The thing was,
yes, but
I hope no.
You look at the goals that they scored as well, and you look how far back Boyle was. Like Boyle was in our 18-yard box when Edward scored, and he was like when Ncham like played it across the goal as well. Like Boyle was just outside the 18-yard box. So if he can get that far back, like Allen's already about 10 yards behind him, should be able to go back and put in a tackle.
But Boyle's playing in a deeper position than Allen was.
But
Boyle was in that midfield three that was.
This is what you were saying though. Like where it's like 3-5-2, like that would have been the perfect opportunity, because especially with Boyle being back in the team, because Boyle can play a wing back, Stevenson can play a wing back, and then that frees up Allen like to stay a wee bit further up the park. Doesn't give him the right not to put in a tackle or not to track back, but if you've got somebody with a bit of pace and the team are a bit more organised and structured to move back, when especially like, I mean, you look at what Dave says in the fact that we never done anything going forward. You can't let a team like Celtic just like knock on the door all game, and if that's how it's set up against Celtic, Rangers have got to look at that, and then Rangers have got to do the exact same thing and see if they come to Easter Road and play like that, and we play like that. Like, I'll walk out at half time because I'm not going to stay there and watch Rangers
support your team for the 90 minutes.
But it's fucking horrendous. So like, you watch that and you sit there and you're like, what's the point? Like, it's just, what's the point?
Yeah,
it's disappointing. And like, I mean, we've just come off the back of a 3-1 win against Aberdeen, which was 3-0. Sorry, even better. It's just been one of these.
You're used to us
conceding, that's what it was.
Yeah.
But it's like you come off the back of a 3-0 win against Aberdeen, then you go to Celtic Park. We were all quite positive before the game. Like, I mean, I even predicted that we would win. And then you come off a performance like that, and you look, there was no chance of us even scoring. Like, we had one chance where Boyle put it a yard wide, and that was pretty much from outside the box. It was like just inside the box. So
what do we need to do differently? So next time we go to Parkhead, is it in terms of I don't want to go into too much, but is it maybe what we need to recruit? Or is there ways that we can challenge Celtic more at Parkhead? Because I think they had done watching the highlights back 9 years since we've won at Parkhead.
It's a stronger midfield, because that's basically where it all comes from. Because the defence can only do so much. Like them, you've seen how many chances they had. It should have been a cricket score. It could have been a cricket score, but see how we set up. That's what teams need to go and do if they're going to get a positive result at Parkhead. Sure, fair enough. You can go there 1 in every 10, play a back 5, play on the break, and you might sneak it 1-0 because Celtic didn't take their chances in a day, but they're going to create chances if you sit. And then that's it. So it's up to you. Do you want to take a 1 in 10 chance, maybe even more than that, or do you want to sit up and be that team that goes to Parkhead and doesn't just win 1-0? Maybe takes the game to them, and I think that's what we probably try to do by playing 2 up front and playing Scott Allen, Stevie Mallon attacking, Boyle attacking, which is fine. We tried it. I just don't think it was executed very well, and I think Jack Ross pretty much did the same thing. And I think the game plan kind of went to pot. We just naturally started getting deeper and deeper. But I don't necessarily think I would have done anything different, to be honest with you, other than manage the game better during it, but the setup would have been the same.
I think when you're coming off the back of having Hecky in charge as well, and the players are still in that mindset, they're still adjusting to Jack Ross coming in and making all these changes. For the first half of the season, pretty much they've played so defensively, and when teams start attacking them, they stand off, push back into their own half, and then they're just having shot after shot at them, and that's pretty much what happened. Because the first half, we gave it a go a wee bit. There was a couple of wee moves with Canberry and Boyle and that linking up, but as soon as something doesn't start working or it doesn't come off, then we start getting deeper. And then obviously with Marciano, he never had the safe hands behind it, and it just shot after shot, and it was like you say when we were watching it back, it's could have been 5 or 6.
A few good chances they had, one of which came, we were talking about Scott Allen there. Dave, you'd mentioned something you'd heard about Jack Ross at half time making a change. Scott Allen put a slack pass and Celtic had an attack off the back of that, and you sort of pointed out something out when we were watching it back.
Oh, Jack Ross said that it was basically at half time we had the discussion that we needed to get behind them a bit more, so Doidge and Flo needed to peel off the back of them rather than taking it into feet and back to goal and that to peel off. So you see Scott Allen gets the ball, he looks up and he does look down again straight away, and then he plays the ball into Doidge's feet because that's what he'd been doing the whole first half. But Doidge had obviously listened to the instructions he's been told, and he's peeled, and then the centre half just standing there takes it, a couple of passes, goal. So it's a misunderstanding of sorts, or if it's Scott Allen basically just maybe no listening to obviously exactly what was getting told. He should know that Doidge is going to be, it's about trusting that what everybody's saying in it, and going a day. So that'll maybe come, but he should have known that Doidge was going to peel off, and that ball should have been floated.
It's the same sort of pass as he played through for Boyle, against Aberdeen. That's what Doidge was looking for. Peeled off the boy, and he could have played it straight through the middle of them. And then Doidge was obviously making the run. You saw he was about 5 yards off the boy when he took it. So it's.
But I'd rather we tried to play passes like that than Scott Allen get the ball and just hoof it up the park.
Yeah.
And then it's going to come back at us anyway. We've moaned for long enough. We didn't want to play like Hearts. We want to play football.
It's positive that we are trying to do things, and that we're identifying things aren't working, and we're trying to change them at half time. And okay, it didn't work, but it's good that we're kind of seeing these things.
Yeah, it's good that conversation at half time's even obviously it's happening. That's what managers do. But that's a conversation at half time that's obviously been how can we get the ball and do a bit more weight up that half of the park, because it's doing nothing when it's getting into our feet. So do we need to peel off in that? We used to talk about Heckingbottom all the time, the amount of times the Flo could run off the back, but that ball was just never played. It was just always played into feet. It's boring football, but at least we're trying stuff, I suppose, but it just didn't work.
Yeah, but hopefully, I think, Jack Ross, still early days. I think his first game at Parkhead in the league, I believe, because he managed St Mirren in the Championship, so be a learning curve for him, and hopefully take positives from this and approach Parkhead differently next time. I just want to see the Old Firm given absolute no respect.
Yep.
None at all. And we might get hammered some games, but I would quite like to go and know it be, like I say, a 1 in every 10 games we might get something at Parkhead. Let's just go and try and absolutely rattle them and be something a bit different. Now, there's a lot of reflecting over the last 10 years. I don't know if either you use Spotify. Spotify had a thing where you had your artists of the decade, so you've listened to the most and all that sort of stuff. So a lot of reflecting over the last 10 years is another decade. What is this decade even called? Is it the teens or is it I don't know. Because it was like the noughties was the last one, which I thought was a stupid name, but I don't know what this decade's even been called.
I don't know.
But there's been mixed times. It's been a Hibs fan, and as always with the Hibs fan, but I mean, we've had the Scottish Cup win, we've had relegation, we've had promotion, we've had derby wins, probably a lot more derby wins than we have in previous 10-year spells. So we thought we'd sit down and sort of chat about the best games that of the decade, and we're choosing 3 each. So Stephen, start with yourself. What one are you going for first?
Put it in order then. So the Brøndby game
Right.
for me, Brøndby away. It was a good game. It was disappointing and bittersweet. Even it was like, for coming off like a quite a poor performance at home, to go over there knowing what the objective was, Lennon being in the stands, which
we got used to a lot.
we got used to quite a bit. Like just the atmosphere. Like I mean, I actually only went over for like 24 hours because I just had the bairns, and that was all I was allowed out. So it's like, I went over for 24 hours, but it's like just complete party atmosphere. Like from the second I landed, went to the game, absolutely bouncing, unbelievable, and then David Gray stepping up again.
A header from a corner. Where had we seen that before?
Exactly. It was quite close to the end as well, was it not? It was like 80 minutes or something. I'm sure it was quite close. And then I just getting over the line to penalties. By that time, I had already booked 6 flights over to Berlin.
I know.
Texting you while I was in the stadium, we're going to win penalties. I was like, get the flights. You want one over? And then I just a bad penalty shootout, but left the game and like it was still jubilant. It was like you just had that like feel good factor after like such a bad like couple of years. Coming on like the Scottish Cup win, then bouncing straight back off of that, it's like just so good. But
how much was the deposits?
Oh, like 90 quid a ticket or something. So
you lost a lot of money that
I
night.
did lose a lot of money, but it was that's by the by.
Hertha Berlin it was in the next
Hertha
round.
Berlin,
Berlin would have been good.
And to be fair, like Brøndby actually beat them, so we could have. I reckon we could have done it as well, but. That's probably my highlight, my first highlight.
Obviously for personal reasons sort of being there, but also a great game. Not having any money, I wasn't there. You'd booked tickets, so I don't think I had a choice. I was going to Berlin, where I had to find the money some way, but unfortunately we didn't get there. Yep. It was from watching at home, it was just it was a great game, great experience to see Hibs in Europe again after quite a long break from Europe. So what was your kind of
that David Gray goal got the award for Limbs of the Decade.
Yeah,
for best celebrations and that, which is quite cool. It's a decent Twitter account that by following. So, but that's probably what I remember most. That celebration, folk off on air each other, and so the days of the luminous top.
They had like the nets behind like the goals and that, and there was like folk like halfway up at like maybe about 50 feet up on this net. Like he's just swinging for it. It was great, but. It was like just waiting for somebody to like punt the ball at them or something. But nah, it was really good. Like
good stuff. Dave, what's your first pick for?
My favourite isn't a win.
Right.
It's probably between 2. I'll go the 2 each draw at Tynecastle, purely just for the last 10 minutes because I think that changed Hibs. That stopped the phrase Hibs it in the year it came out, and. That was it. That was the turning point.
I mean, it was Doom and Nicholson put Hearts 2-0 up at half time,
and Sam Nicholson grabbed his buzz, and was like ooh to the Hibs fans and that. And
then we find ourselves down 2-0 down at Tiny, and sitting there thinking it's happening again. And I was sitting there thinking another year. Unbelievable. And when's this nightmare gonna end? I could go on, but I won't. So I mean, Cummins' goal goes in,
Yeah, so I wasn't there
Mhm.
because I
Possible to get tickets.
couldn't get a ticket, but I was watching it with two Hearts mates,
Mhm.
and like it's just so. To be fair, I think I had a very good experience of that. I don't think I would swap it out,
Mhm.
even though the celebrations looked mental. But they were getting it so tight. They were like getting it it's got 115, and it was amazing. I jumped in them on the couch, and at 2 each. I never at 2-1. I was like, can it happen? That didn't happen to Hibs though.
A really good substitution that game was Kevin Thompson by Alan Stubbs.
Yeah.
A really good, sensible substitution to put on. Sure, and then the ball comes in.
He should have had the second goal. Like.
Cummins with a looping header. Did you start to believe at 2-1 that maybe?
Well, not really, because Gunnarsson hit our own bar. Like after it went to 2-1, it's like punted it off our bar, like with a clearance. And then we basically from that went up the other end, and then that's where it all went. Turn round, like Dave says, that was the feel good factor for Hibs again. It just felt as though we could do anything really at that point.
Like you hinted at there, arguably one of the most important games of the last 10 years.
For me, that is it. That was our turning point.
Yeah.
Something just clicked, and that is that when the whole us turning everything on Hearts happened as well. Like they've not been that good in derbies. Have not been as dominant as they were. They were dominant for a while, let's be honest. Something for me changed that night, and it's the most important I can think in the last 10 years, apart from
the one which we'll come back to. Don't you worry
Yes.
about that. So Stephen, what's your next one that you wanted to bring up?
Well, orders went out the window now. But we'll go 3-1 game the year after we won the cup. The replay against Hearts again, the fifth round. 3-1 with the incredible Holt and Cummins scoring after 2 minutes, giving the fingers to the Hearts fans pretty much. And it was that was probably another great game for me.
Was it not Simon Murray that scored?
No, that was the year after.
Yeah, he scored the only goal the year after. But that was a game, it was a replay. I was trying to think, which game was it you and me were in the West Stand Upper for? Was that the 2016 game or the 2017 game?
It would have been the 2016 because I wasn't there. I was in Australia still.
Right.
Yeah, I think it was 2016.
Right, that was okay. So yeah, the 2017 game, I'm going back to that. But yeah, I mean, it was just such a really good performance and, quite dominant, and Hearts, a goal kind of, they weren't really in it that much, and just and to be fair, Chinese goal did come for a counter attack, but we just had a swagger about us that day, and that I think that comes off of what we're kind of saying about the 2-2 game, and then beating them in the replay. There was a real sort of, even fans sort of puffed at their chest and was like, we've got them.
Just felt unbeatable against it. See them at Easter Road, they'd be like, this is easy tonight. And
Cummins scoring so early, it's probably the quietest Hearts have ever been for 90 minutes, and the loudest Hibs fans have been. So it was just a great, from obviously the game, but also from being in the stands, great game. So yeah, another good one. Dave, what's your second choice?
For sheer entertainment factor, 5 each. Rangers. Before that match, we genuinely believed we could win 6-0.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't.
I stuck a bet on it.
Hand in heart, honestly felt like we could win 6-0.
On the 22nd minute, I believe we'd win 6-0.
3-0 up, and the best thing about that is I think the players believed they could win 6-0.
Yeah.
You imagine playing Rangers now and thinking you can beat them 6-0. Don't get me wrong, on Friday it's going to be like 3 or 4-0 Hibs, but it's not going to, I didn't think 6 because Rangers have got a wee bit better. But after that, and then in that match, they had everything that you can expect to have when you're a Hibs fan. Completely deluded expectations.
Complete capitulation.
Complete capitulation to be raging, to all of a sudden then coming back and then feeling jubilant again, and then you've got your manager then an aeroplane and Rangers fans raging, and it just felt mental. And I had a £2 bet on a bet builder.
Mm-hmm.
And at 250 to 1, got 5 for none to have been.
Wow.
I
remember that, but
can you remember?
Yeah, I remember. I was beside you.
Yeah.
I remember.
I only needed a a red card, because I said a red card in the match, Canberra goal, McLaren goal, over a certain amount of corners, and both teams to score in both halves. And then the red card came in like 79th minute or something, and that was it. It was in.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even, so the last 10 minutes. So
You were already partying.
Yeah, I got the money.
We were
and
sitting there
we came
thinking,
back.
oh, we're 5-4 down. You're partying because you've won all that money. And then McLaren scores in the 93rd minute.
Yeah. Nah, really, just a fun game, that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we kind of... I think when Rangers... Even when it got to like 3-2, when Rangers got a couple back, I think we kind of accepted that we weren't going to get third. But
me and him were like, right, we need to score 8 now. It needs to be 8-2. Like, honestly, I don't know what was in the water that day.
But at the same time, you're like, once you kind of get set up, we're like, right, this is the last game of the season. It's been a brilliant season. We've seen some great football. There was just a really, party atmosphere. And okay, maybe it wasn't that enjoyable between, when it got to 5-3, but. Yeah, just a great game.
But I mean, you know I love a bet, and I was sitting there like after every single goal, I was like 6-0, 7-1, 8-2. I was like, just kept putting them on. I was like, can we win 11-5?
It's definitely one of the best games I've ever been at in person. And if you're a neutral, then if there was a neutral at the game, they've had one of the best game days.
It was just bizarre. Like you literally had absolutely everything. You had Scott Allen going through Rossiter. You had he should have been sent off. David's red card could have came in after 24 minutes with that one, but it was just mental.
It was good fun.
Mm-hmm. Now, Stephen, I know for the third one you went for the obvious, but Dave, you've steered away from the obvious for your third choice.
Have I?
Aye.
Did I not say 4-0 Hibs?
You did, which is not the obvious.
Oh. Aye, because I didn't want to pick the obvious.
There's a lot of people on social media have done the same.
Yeah, well, that is the obvious one, and that, of course, that's my favourite.
Mm-hmm.
But 4-0 against Rangers at Easter Road, because again, when's that happen? Like, it's just good. It wouldn't happen now, so good fun.
It really sort of epitomised when we kind of watched the highlights back, because you'd mentioned it. Spoilers, but you watch the goals back. It's just like the football, like. All the goals are team goals, and the other chances we create are team goals, and there's people involved. And I love the second one. The deep cross gets cut back and then tapped in. There's two people there to score it. It's just, it really sort of is one of those games that epitomised why we loved subsidies football so much.
It's not even the best bit of the match. Ian Black getting subbed in the first half.
I think Scott Allen's run and then cross, and then Liam Craig in his best game in a Hibs jersey hitting it in the volley. Because he had two assists and a goal that game. He was on fire that game.
But that was the game that sort of David Gray made his appearance as well.
David Gray with hair.
David Gray with hair. But that was his first major appearance in a Hibs top, where he scored the goal after 5 minutes or something. I wasn't even in the stand when we were 2-0 up. It's just bizarre, but it was one of the games.
Definitely, and I really enjoyed watching back the highlights. It's a great game, and it was just maybe a bit more of a transitional season because a lot of new players, and it wasn't until the next year we went and won the Scottish Cup. But there was a lot of building blocks in that season, and I think that game highlights a lot of that went on to the Scottish Cup. But before we come on to that, I was going to do my 3, but we'll cut that. And we've talked about a lot of that. But one game I wanted to mention was the 4-3 game against Falkirk, because we. Obviously a great game. 3-0 down. I think Lee Griffiths had probably one of the worst games in a Hibs jersey. He was honking that day, and then he just hit it from miles out, and then when it got to 3-3, went in extra time, and 4-3. But I went to the game with you that day, and I think it was the first Hibs game that I'd went to with you.
Yep.
You were my assistant manager at the time, and it was one of the first times I'd really spent time outside work with you. So that's why it was kind of.
That's beautiful.
That's cute.
It was, and I remember we phoned my boss, your best mate, Hearts fan.
Yeah.
And we were status quo singing "Rockin' All Over the World" and stuff. It was great.
Yeah, but that's because of the amount of abuse that was flown our way at half time.
Aye.
Ridiculous.
I know.
I remember I'd went to the game with Emma McLaughlin from school.
Yeah.
She was a greeting mess. At half time, she was wanting to leave. I drove through that game and I was like, I'm not want to leave, it's only half time. the boy in front of us that game, right, left his wife in the stand, went away for a pie at half time, never came back. He's like, why he's still sitting there at 70 minutes on her own, like, where the fuck is he? Emma's sitting there like, I want to go home. That was Alex Harris's best game in a Hibs top.
Yeah, a lot of folks say that.
And after that game, went to the final, sitting there, 2 rows in front of us at the final, the same boy, and I was like, you've got to stay this time. His wife's like, I've got fucking handcuffs just in case he runs away. But
So she forgave him.
she must have, but it's some season.
If you were that guy that left your missus at halftime,
Shame on you.
let us know.
If she's kicking about with handcuffs all the time, then what did they leave her for? She sounds fun.
So we asked you guys on social media what your kind of favourite games were. So before we get to the obvious one, which I kind of want to talk about a bit, Lawrence had sort of said the 4-3 game with Bedlam when Griffiths rifled that screamer home in extra time. Somebody else he also mentioned the 4-0 game and the 2-0 game against Hearts, the natural order derby. We signed Effie Ambrose. That song was really loud that day, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And the brilliant for the natural order flag.
Yeah.
The boys.
The 40 Levine. That's
Just Levine in the
one
back,
of the most iconic footies in that.
Aye. So Callum has said he says he's going to avoid the Scottish Cup final because it's too obvious, but we're going to talk about it in a minute. I'm really excited about talking about the final.
See, I kind of it's obvious, right? And a lot of folk are saying this on Twitter and that is they don't want to say it because it's obvious. But the question was like your top 3 games within the decade.
But like Dave says, we're going to talk about it anyway. So
You should have made it. You should have
kind of been covered. If we all said,
should have just said 5, and then I'm sure we could have fitted all of them in that way.
He's said 2-2 at Tiny as well. Turned a corner in derbies and led to the Hampden glory. 4-0 against Rangers, and he also said about 4-3 versus Falkirk. And Matt sort of said the cup final, 2-0 win over Hearts with Allen and Macca, natural order derby again, and 3-0 win over Hearts in the Scottish Cup. Is that 3-1 I think he means?
Must be 3-1.
Sean said obviously putting the Scottish Cup final aside, he'd go the 1-1 game AAA away. He broke his ribs celebrating McGinn's goal, so how could he not pick it? Also he said 3-2 Rangers away. First game after this Ibrox after the Scottish Cup final, that would be the one where Slivka scored the screamer, eh?
Yep, that's right.
That was a brilliant game. So before I read out, you get bored of my voice if I talk for too long, so I'll read out a few more in a minute. But let's talk about everybody's favourite game.
Who gets bored of your voice?
I don't know. But
to be fair, probably. I get where you're coming from.
So, favourite game by far. People leaving it out because it's the obvious one. Scottish Cup final. Aye, what's your kind of
best day of my life?
Oh, you got engaged that day,
and and that's now finished.
Still though,
to be fair, like I was probably the most tearful, joyful arsehole that day. Like left my
ex an arsehole, no,
up in the stand.
I can't imagine him being
8.5
joyful.
months, 8.5 months pregnant.
Gav's already
left, and I just left her in the stand
on her own
to go onto the pitch and greet my eyes out. But yeah, just so memorable.
It was such a great game. I mean, we've kind of told like stories before. Like I've said, I'm sure I've told the story before about, after the goal went in, after like calming down for a minute, I was like, I've got to get to my dad, and just running round.
Never even said bye, just ran away.
I think I just said, yeah, I need my dad, and I ran. And just started howling as soon as I got to him. It was just such a... So, what were you, Dave? Where were you that day?
I was with my papa and one of my best mates. So it was really good that obviously got to go with my papa. He's been telling me for that long, I'll never happen. I'll never see it. He said he would never see it, but he also told me on more than one occasion I would never see it, so just forget about it. So it's nice that happened. It's probably the best day of my life as well, to be fair. I can't see how it gets topped. Can you complete something, like completed football, like
the famous completed football manager.
I've completed it, mate. Like there's no point in anything else really when you think about it. No point getting stressed out. The Hibs getting beat at the weekend, does it really matter? Like,
See,
long run.
The thing is, like, on the back of what you're saying, like, I think that if we did actually go on the next again year and win that, like, it wouldn't have been the same. Like, I think
of course it wouldn't have. No.
There's, like you say,
It would have been amazing, but
I don't think you'll ever top it. Like,
Nah.
if we waited another 50 years and won it again, like, it still wouldn't be the same.
the way the game panned out as well, you know, scoring so early, it was just sort of like this can't be happening. And then for Rangers to, you know, go 2-1 up, it was sort of like, well, this is what it's like to be a Hibs fan. This is what I can expect. This is, you know, you come in with your optimism all you want. Part of you is going, this is how I kind of seen it going.
That was the most optimistic I've ever been as well.
Aye. But credit to my dad. Like, obviously I wasn't sitting beside him, but I've heard this afterwards. Waghorn got taken off, and my mum went, why are they taking Waghorn off? He's a penalty taker. My dad went, this isn't going to penalties. We're winning this. We're winning this in 90 minutes. Mum's like, what are you talking about? And my dad was just so confident that we were gonna do it. And we did, you know, and you know, great play. There's obviously, you know, you see the DVD, you see all the stuff behind the scenes about, you know, the fact that they'd watched Rangers and like, right, they've got a weakness at corners, and they exploited that, and they got Henderson on, and just brilliant. Just
When it was obviously 2 each, and then Stokes nearly scores, and then Fotherham tips it round the post. My mate went to me, can you imagine if that had went in? And I was hitting on me, I kind of like, and then obviously we scored through that corner, and I didn't need to imagine anymore that it was happening, but it felt like I was in a big dream bubble. And then even after the game, and I cannot confirm or not confirm if I went on the pitch or not, and I cannot confirm if I've got Hampden Grass in the house in a book at the side of my bed because I've not put it in a frame yet. I don't know if that's true or not.
My legs collapsed. I was just like in a ball, just like, can you believe it? Just like I was just down and like on the ground, just not on the down. I was just sort of like just squatting almost, just like my hands in my head, just like in disbelief. Just, you know, standing seemed like the last thing on my mind. I was just trying to process what had just happened.
I cuddled so many people.
So many people cuddled that day. It was great, brilliant game.
Such a good day.
And I mean, you know, we've got really exciting times, I think, to come in the next 10 years. I think I'm really excited, and I'm really excited about what's going to happen with our new owner, and, you know, I think we've got an exciting young manager. I'm very excited about the next 10 years, but like you say, there's never going to be a memory like that ever again.
So Dave, do you feel better now that it's been mentioned? Would you rather it just wasn't talked about?
No, but it was just obvious, innit?
But
I know
somebody
everybody,
needed to bring
like,
it up,
we
though.
speak about it all the time. It's like my Rangers mate says, you ever going to shut up about that? And I'm like, no. Well, no, mate, no.
Not until they win a cup.
Aye.
It's still got to be another year anyway.
Do you think?
They're not going to win anything this year.
We're going to win the Scottish Cup this year.
They're not going to win the Scottish Cup.
We're going to win the Scottish Cup this year.
We're going to.
Talking about
I'm talking about Rangers.
Oh, right. I thought it was a bath.
No, we could win a Scottish Cup this year.
Rangers have still never won a trophy, eh?
Nope. They've won a couple of like League 1 and League 2 cups, I think.
But they've never won a domestic.
Never won.
No, they won that
The Chippy
Challenge-
Cup with Harry
Chippy Cup.
Ramsden's.
Yeah, aye. So a couple other ones, you know, Murray's Minter 75, he sort of said about the semi-final against Falkirk as well, and obviously that day in May, and 4-0 against the Huns. A lot of people sort of saying that.
You're not allowed to use that word now, by the way.
What?
Did you not hear about that Celtic physio that's got the boot because she says fuck the Huns
Did you?
on her Twitter?
Yeah, but we are not employed by the club or physios of any sort, so it can be used, and it will be used frequently. It's a term.
It's a term of endearment.
Yes,
Mm.
I don't mean it at all bad.
An interesting one that's not been mentioned here. Neil is saying Hibs 5, Kilmarnock 3. It was like a FIFA game.
Yes.
Thinks he's Packy Bonner now, eh? So you got the microphone up there.
I was just saying this, mate. Sorry, I just wanted to lean back in my seat.
Fine, mate, it's fine.
I've done this podcast for that long, I've still got the shittest seat in the world.
Hey, I'm on the wooden one today.
But
I'm on the wooden one today.
I know, but this wee thing's horrendous. I would need to, but it doesn't matter.
We need to get
We're
lazy
going to
boys
off a
in.
wee bit lazy, but 100%
Hibernian 5, Kilmarnock 3.
a bit better than this seat.
5-2 it was.
5-3
Was it 5-3?
Yeah.
3.
Oh no.
That was fun. That was part
I'm
of
actually having
the
a
fun
melody.
period. It was just scoring goals and screw defending.
We went 1-0 down as well, eh?
Can't
Chris
I
Boyd
honestly
scored
can't mind. Just remember it being 5-3. and then
So
like,
you need
what
to remember.
the hell happened? He's right, it was kind of like a FIFA game.
I'm googling it now, so please talk about it more whilst I find it.
It was kind of like a FIFA game. No FIFA game that I participate in because I get hammered all the time.
It was what I. So it was Scott Allen scored the first goal, 29th minute, and then Boyd equalised, 33rd,
okay.
and then one of the craziest second halves of football ever. You've got Whittaker scoring for one thing, but Whittaker scoring the 54th, and then McLaren, Finlay, Boyd again, Canberry, Barker. So what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 goals in one half. I mean,
Barker scored. that's
scored in the last minute,
that's made a shock to Whittaker.
See, obviously I talked about FIFA at the start.
Mm-hmm.
FIFA was mentioned there. I just say something, right? All the kind of you play online, you get randomly matched up with somebody, right? I played this boy, and then I've got the Hibs badge and the Hibs kit on my ultimate team, and then there was a boy, his team, I just seen his team name, and it was the Buffaloes or whatever, and then he had the Rangers badge, and I was just like, no, I'm going to be playing a Rangers boy, and his name was like Ryan 1690 or something.
Shout out to Ryan 1690.
Yep, it was something like that. It was 1690 the end of his gamer tag, and I was like, you little bastard. I sat up in my seat, my legs were not extended outwards anymore, and I was ready.
Had the socks pulled up and
I was ready. I got beat 6-0. He was watching every replay. He was doing celebrations, cutting his ears, doing a shh, and then I was half trying to wipe him out and that. I didn't want to leave though. I didn't want to give Hibs a bad name, but God, I hated every
You can
minute.
if you get 5 people sent off, it cuts it down to 3-0.
Well, I should have done that. Sorry.
I was getting ready for you'd sat up, you'd concentrated, and you'd absolutely pumped him. But
I got beat 6-0. So Ryan 1690, fuck you.
And fuck the hands.
Stick with the themes.
So a couple other ones here. Somebody, Tartan Hibby, said on Instagram, 18th of July 2015, East End Park versus Dunfermline, as it was my son's first game. That's quite nice.
No, that's cute.
Aye. Craig had mentioned in our group chat, often on the podcast, Craig, he'd sort of said about the Horgan game at Tynecastle, because that was Alfie's first derby. We were with Craig that day. Alfie loved that game, didn't he?
Yeah, there was the march and everything before it.
Yeah.
It was pure buzzing.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I've really enjoyed looking back at some of the best games of the last 10 years. I think we'll kind of keep this theme going next week and maybe do a team of the decade, so look forward to that next week. Now, to finish up, we're going to chat about the Rangers game Friday night. That'll be great to edit. Thanks, Dave. We have Morelos suspended.
Get into them.
Yes.
And
that could work against us.
Because Jermaine Defoe's really good.
Jermaine Defoe is really good, and he's a good finisher, and obviously Morelos has scored loads of goals, but it's not exactly brilliant that Defoe's coming in, is it?
I think Defoe scored against us every game he's played.
He scored a hat-trick in the game at Ibrox,
so. But I'm sure he scored in the 2-1 game last season.
Do you think Morelos should have been sent off?
Yes, of course he should have.
You think?
Like, by the letter of the law, that is a booking.
Can I just say though, I really didn't like Morelos. Like, I enjoy that I don't like Morelos, and I enjoy players when they do stuff a bit different. So obviously when Cummings done that against Hearts, and I think it's brilliant.
But it's a booking by the letter of the law.
I would do it.
You wouldn't have to do it if you were in a booking.
But that's when it comes the difference between being a fan and then obviously
being
that's
a
when
fanny.
professionalism
to me,
comes into it.
I don't have a problem with it. I don't mind. I think it's a bit of banter stuff. I don't think it's that
I think it separates us.
If you're a fan and a player does that to you and you're ready to jump over the barricade because I think you've got to have a look at yourself. I think that
if that's enticing you, but come on, you've got to look at the amount of abuse that players not put up with.
Exactly.
If he does a wee tiny thing back, I don't see a massive deal in it. I get that by a letter of it's in the RAF. I don't think Rangers fans are going to be able to complain, but I quite like when Hibs players or like that type of thing. See when Lenny done the aeroplane thing? That was obviously going to wind the Rangers fans up. It's funny.
Lennon done it to Rangers at Ibrox.
Griffiths done it to Arraign fans when
Derek Riordan done it to Hearts fans. Cummins done it. So yeah, it's been done a lot.
I find it funny. It separates us from doing the boring shit you get served up down south.
I just didn't get caught in it. But looking at Rangers' last few games, they beat Motherwell, but apparently, they didn't even play that great that day, but they got the result. And a draw with Young Boys in the Europa League. Who did they get in the next round? Rangers.
Braga.
I think they could get through that.
Yep.
Tricky tie, but I think they get through it. They obviously lost last week in the final to Celtic. Drew 2-2 with Rangers and beat Hearts 5-0 at Ibrox.
They drew 2-2 with Rangers.
2-2 with Aberdeen, sorry. So, maybe not the most, sensational form in the last 5 games, but what's your kind of thoughts been on Rangers this season?
Well, obviously they're better. Unfortunately, the golf's there in it again. It's back to being they two at the top. That wee honeymoon period that we had where Rangers were kicking about third and fourth it's over. That's it. It'll not happen again unless obviously they start spending money they've not got, which, well, fingers crossed, but it's unfortunately I can't see it happening. So what am I trying to say here?
They're better than last season.
Nice. We'll see what happens. I again, no respect. I want a wee bit of revenge because we sat there at that game. That's 6-1 game at Ibrox. Got absolutely strunt like a rat. Stayed the whole game because I wanted to show how angry I was at the end of the match. I wanted the players to know, and they didn't care. But I want revenge.
Rangers played a really effective high press that day. How do we counter that going into this game?
We attack them, but just beat the press. That's up to Jack Ross to figure that out. I just want to win and see a bit of fight, and I don't want to roll over, and I don't want to sit in and take it. I want Rangers to feel rattled.
We spoke about earlier in the Celtic review how 2 up top and Scott Allen in a free role, whether he was informed to play that way or not, didn't work. Do we make changes for this game?
I don't think you want to change that too much though, because it worked against Aberdeen, who are a team that we've always struggled against recently. But
Aberdeen are a very physical team compared to a team that will press in.
But that's the thing though, like come to
capitalise on your
the
mistakes.
midfield and that, like Rangers are just like Aberdeen in the sense that they're quite sort of like to try and bully you off the ball and stuff. If we go and attack them, like what we were saying about Allen going in for the heavy challenges, Hallberg like going in for the ball and no standing off. If we keep it in the midfield, then we've got a chance to push forward. The last thing that you want is to be playing at home against Rangers, hear all the excuses at the end about we just tried to play on the counter and we're like conceding chance after chance. Like the best thing to do, I would rather see another 5-5 game than us getting beat 2-0 off like them playing a high pressing game and us just sitting back. Not just for the result though, it's the way that you want to play.
You use Boyle to obviously keep them their fullbacks for going forward. You've got that type of thing. Would
you change the formation then, rather than playing Boyle deeper in a centre mid position?
Against Aberdeen, he was kind of interchanging, wasn't it? It was kind of floating everywhere.
He was making runs from deep, yeah.
Aye, but it was causing the problems. So you kind of hope that use Boyle's pace to kind of make them think, don't want to overcommit here. And then I hate them push further up the park like that, but I hope the atmosphere's good and I hope everybody gets behind the team. Even if we went a goal down, just
would it be an idea
capitulating?
Would it be an idea to play Boyle left centre mid rather than right centre mid
for Tav?
So when because Tav commits himself forward and is bad for getting back.
He's hopeless as a defender.
There's that space left in behind. Boyle.
Yeah,
the thing is
making those runs from deep, he's not going to be picked up, and there's a good opportunity for him to get into that space, stretch the defence, create spaces in the middle.
The thing is that Canberry pushes out as well. Like Canberry plays out wide left.
He drifts out
when
wide.
You're playing in a 2, so he can find that space behind Tav, and you saw in the Aberdeen game that he can take on a player as well, which makes a massive difference because you're only got to be attacking 2 centre backs. if you're playing on the left-hand side. And, I mean, Stevenson, even though he's only one-footed in that, he can still, like, push up the park a bit. If he even makes 20 yards, 25 yards, like, makes a big difference with Tav pushing so far up the park.
So, basically exploit Tav. Any other ways we think we could?
Yeah, but Ryan Jack's been one of the best midfielders in the league this year, so...
Could he nullify Scott Allen?
Aye, he could. He's been good enough. And he's started scoring goals.
He's quite good at starting counter-attacks as well, and that's my worry, because I mean, I love those passes from Scott Allen. Obviously, you want to play them, but you know that Scott Allen's pass rate isn't 100% every game, because he places passes that, you know, sometimes don't come off, but the ones when they do, my God, they come off. So do we run a risk of him trying to play a ball, someone like Jack Ross intercepting it, starting a counter-attack, and, you know, us being on the back foot?
You're going to need to edit that out, because you says Jack Ross.
You know what I mean? You don't have to edit everything out. I mean, Jack Ross doesn't play football anymore. He's now the manager, and he never played for Rangers, thankfully.
Yeah, and then I mean, it's all just formalities. What's that word? Scenarios. It's all just scenarios. Like, could happen. It just depends. Everyone needs to play their best game of the season, in my opinion. Any one of that midfield slack off or thingy will get beat, because Rangers are too good. No, that hurts saying that, but it's true.
So any changes you'd make from the team, or would you keep it the same?
I put Slivka in for Hallberg.
What?
I put Slivka in for Hallberg.
Okay, apparently Stephen knows nothing about football.
Why? Because I'll be playing a 3-5-2.
But Hallberg is more of a central midfielder. We discussed this last week, so surely he would be more suited to playing.
If you've got 3 at the back, you can play 5 in the midfield, and you can put Slivka in.
I put Slivka in for Malin, possibly, and then do the Allen and Malin sub if it's not working, but it will be working, because Scott Allen will be an absolute stormer, because he doesn't like them.
Yeah.
So the amount of abusing that he's put up with over the years. But I definitely, Hallberg, man's got to be probably one of the first names in the team sheet.
So he's looking forward to the game then?
Can't wait. I love this.
I love Friday night, Furious, get a couple of drinks in.
Yeah.
Rangers under the lights, Easter Road. This is why you get your season ticket. Games like this. You know, you can't go into this game. Oh, Rangers are quite good. I'm quite worried. No.
This is my Christmas derby. See, because I can't make the game at Tiny when they work. This is my Christmas derby.
Aye.
So, aye.
So what's your score predictions for the game then?
3-2 Hibs.
3-1 Hibs.
So you've got much planned for tonight then, guys?
Just watch the football.
Yeah. Monday Night Football again.
Yep.
Aye.
Yep.
Aye.
Started watching a programme on Netflix. What is it again? Oh my days. Mindhunter.
Oh, I've seen that advertised. It's good.
First episode was really weird.
Mm-hmm.
Second episode was much better. But I just found out that it's actually based on like real killers, and then I was like, oh, that's really cool. And then I was like, but it's not really, because it just makes, obviously it's true that the guy chopped folks' heads off and had sex with their dead bodies and that.
Wow.
Bit weird. I know. And then I was like, oh, it's cool that that's true. And then I was like, no, it's quite sick that that's true. So aye, but that's not really a spoiler. Bye, Mindhunter. Gonna give it a go.
Cool. That's good. I might watch a bit of football tonight, and sort of finish up editing this, and then once it's edited out, I think I'll maybe get another 30 minutes in my Football Manager save. I went back and started playing Football Manager 2009, just because I didn't like the new one that much. So I'm not even like the new one, but I didn't like 2019 too much. And I looked at the new one, and it's too expensive, so I played 2009, and started a lead save. They were in League One, back-to-back promotions, finished 11th in the 11th in my first season. So kick on with that. So about half an hour of that. So that's quite good save.
Nice one.
Fair play. I like Football Manager.
You done it, do you? You're more a FIFA man.
It's crap. I'm not very good at it. That's the problem. Get sacked all the time.
Right. We'll finish up there. We'll be back next Monday. We'll probably couple of pre-recorded stuff because it's Christmas week and stuff, but it will be reviewing the Rangers game. Like we said, we'll do our teams of the decades, and I'm trying to organise an interview as well, so we'll hopefully snap that in as well. But snap that in? That's a weird phrase. That's not what I meant, but yeah, people know what I mean. Anyway, subscribe wherever you get a podcast, follow us on social media at HFC Talk, and we'll be back next week.
Cheers.
Cheers.